I have a confession to make. I don't like swimming in water where I can't see what's going on around me. That makes swimming in the ocean a problem. If you've ever been to an ocean, you know exactly what I'm talking about. On a clear day, you can see all around you. Why? Because the ocean is actually clear. It simply reflects the sky. If, on the other hand, a marine layer has come in, the skies are cloudy, the water becomes obscured, you can't see the bottom, you can't see what's around you. The water is no longer clear. Most of us like to be clear about what's going on around us, especially with those who are closest to us. We like things clear. However, our communication is not always clear. The very words we need to describe our experiences aren't enough. They need to be clarified. I'm sure most of you had those experiences when either the words of another or your own words just weren't enough to clearly describe your experience. My experience is the first reaction of many people is to ask one question, and that question begins with one word that gets you into trouble. The word is why. Let's think of the example I shared in episode 32 about why your partner uses 3 towels to dry off. You've checked out your partner's concern, and now you ask your partner, why did you do it that way? Now, let me ask you, what's the first feeling that happens in you when someone asks you why? My guess is you become defensive and start looking for a rebuttal. That's natural. We all seek to defend ourselves when we're perceived we are being attacked. Second, I can tell you the first word of your rebuttal. It's because. Third, I think you already know what comes after because. 2 things. First, you can say anything you want. You can state your thinking. However, you can also say something that makes absolutely no sense. Why questions are not specific. They beg an abstraction, a reason. But the reason doesn't have to make any sense. Your reason doesn't have to be logical or tied to anything measurable or observable. And once you've given it, whether truthful or not, what do you get? Another argument. Why is a setup? Instead, ask what or how. What and how are helpful for 3 reasons. First, what and how are more concrete. They either ask for measurable and observable facts or the perceptions and understandings of the person during an event. Second, they're open-ended. They invite people to tell you what they perceive was actually going on. People love to tell their stories, and what and how are invitations. Finally, once you've heard a story, you can start to decide what's really important to you and to the other person. Then you can decide what's really important to yourself. Ultimately, arguments are seldom about facts. They're ultimately about the values and meanings. Stories are always about value and meaning. What was really important to the person telling the story. Once you're clear what's really important to your partner and to yourself, you can begin to figure out how these 2 value sets can coexist. Back to our towels. What were you thinking when you used 3 towels when you dried off this morning? Now, you can talk about what your partner was thinking and ultimately what's important to them about their behaviors. Maybe it was just the way your partner was raised or a habit they developed growing up. And perhaps you are more concerned about how much it will cost to launder those towels. Those are things that you can now discuss. They are about what's important to you and what's important to your partner. You can make a more concrete decision about what will be important in your relationship. No matter what, you can avoid an argument and settle a difference between you and your partner. When asking for clarifications, avoid why and use what and how instead. I hope you've enjoyed this episode of Life Matters. If it's been helpful, please hit those like and subscribe buttons in YouTube. If you're watching me on Facebook, please like my page and share it with your friends. Most of all, come back to see me for the next episode of Life Matters.